Alright, y'all, so here's how to make a box, a 3D box out of paper. I'm starting with 4 strips of paper that I have cut to be all exactly the same as each other. Right, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, one for each side of the box, and they're all exactly the same as each other. If it was a different width or a different length, I would end up with a different sized box, different dimensions of my box, but all 4 pieces of paper need to be the same. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay them all out next to each other. Going to make sure they're lined up just the same. And then I'm going to take the third one, and I'll show you the end here. And I'm going to use the width of the third piece of paper, or the extra one, and I'm going to use the side of the paper as a ruler. Notice how I lined it up with the edges of those. Let me just fix that. So that I'm measuring the width of the piece of paper, which is the same as the other piece of paper, so that this right here should be a square. I can do exactly the same thing on the other side. This only works if all the pieces of paper are the same size. So again, I'm going to line it up with the top and use my extra strip of paper as a kind of ruler. Now what I can do is I can fold these pieces of paper along that little line. And you can see that I'm going to end up with the sides of my box. Again, if you want a longer box, use longer strips of paper. If you want a wider box or a cube, all the sides need to be, for a cube, all the sides would need to be the same. But you can start to see that as we start to cut these out, they will fit together, and you can just glue on those sides. Or if I want to lengthen this, I can glue those there and end up with a bigger box. But I still need to cut the top and the bottom. So I'm folding each of these sides. And I can, for the last side, I can use another one and do the same thing to the first one that I used to measure. Now I can take a little bit of glue, a very little bit of glue, and I can start to glue the sides of my box together. You want to line up, when you glue them together, you want them to line up with the edges. Make sure that everything is even, otherwise you will end up with a crooked box. It might be a little bit curved while it's drying. For the top and the bottom, I'm going to put the glue on the inside of this side and the inside of the fold here. So that I can have the bottom lined up. Trying to work quickly before the glue dries. There we go, and then fold over the top. And there you can see I'm starting to have a cube. Again, I'm putting the glue on the inside so that the glue is hidden. Now I can glue on the top. And I have the base of a cube. You may need to add a little tab or an edge to this box in order to keep it closed, but this will be a great starting point or a structure for many types of objects that you might want to build. Could be a body, it could be the start of a body, could be a head, could be a building, could be a car. I could turn this box into just about anything that I want. And again, if you want different size, different dimension of box, use either a longer strips of paper or shorter strips of paper or wider strips of paper. Differing the strips that you start with will differ the dimensions of the final box that you end up with.